All right, so my name is Rebecca Kaas. I'm a Veterans Employment Representative for the Department of Employment and Economic Development, and the topic of this presentation is going to be salary negotiation for remote jobs. So, how do I go to?
The easiest place is down in the bottom right-hand corner.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Renee.
One more over.
Right over here.
To the right. One more to the right.
Okay.
Oh, that works too. That works.
Go back. All right. Thanks, Renee.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. Here's an interesting quote I kind of like. In business as in life, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. All right. So the key points I'm going to cover are these topics: remote work versus telework. What's the difference? How companies set salaries for on-site jobs and for remote jobs. How to find out what the company is basing the salary ranges on before you apply. How to determine your market value. How to negotiate your salary. What to do when the employer won't budge, and when to walk away. All right. So main difference between remote work and telework is the official duty station or your home office. So in remote jobs, you know, your home office, your official duty station is going to be your home. For teleworking or telecommuting, you know, the home office is going to be wherever the agency home office is. Okay, how companies set salaries for on-site jobs. On-site jobs. Okay, so location, industry, demand, education, experience, qualifications, company size, job task, responsibilities, and success and performance. Well, success and performance are mostly for, you know, when it comes time for your performance evaluation and you're up for a raise. All right, so, but for remote positions, okay, so the three main ways companies set salaries for remote jobs. Number one, it could be the location of the company office or headquarters, wherever that happens to be. It could be the location of the remote worker, wherever the remote worker lives, or it could be general market trends, labor market information, or that particular job. There's some companies that pay the same for every employee that does that job, regardless of where the headquarters is, or where the worker lives. So those are the three main ways. All right, how to find out what the company is basing their salary ranges on before you apply. Okay, so you can ask the employer what method they use, so you can narrow down your own range. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn. You can call the HR department of the company. You can do some research online. You could also reach out to recruiters, contacts at the company. If you know anyone that works for the company, you could ask them, or even former employees. So that's another way you can find out. Definitely use online tools such as LinkedIn, Glassdoor, PayScale to ensure the job you want to apply to is offering a salary range you would feel comfortable accepting or negotiating. All right, so here's some really popular places that are commonly used to get salary information: PayScale, salary.com, LinkedIn Salary Insights, Glassdoor, and US Bureau of Labor Statistics. And BLS is very data intensive. So if you're that kind of person, very analytical, like to look at a lot of numbers, BLS is your friend. All right, so this is kind of basic, but it does apply to both remote jobs and on-site jobs. So how do you determine your market value? Okay, one of the major things that you need to consider is if that job is currently in demand. If it's in demand, or find out if it's declining. So here's some places where you can go to get that information: Career One Stop, what's in demand, BLS Career Outlook, Finding Hot Jobs, CareerWise, Occupations in Demand. For declining, you could go to BLS Employment Projections, Fastest Declining Occupations, or Career One Stop, Careers with Declining Employment. how to negotiate your salary. All right, so when to negotiate your salary, because you never want to start negotiating your salary until after you receive the job offer, right? Now, if the offer doesn't reflect your experience, that's another reason to negotiate. Think about how the offers or the starting salary is going to impact your lifestyle. Are you going to have to cut back in expenses? Are you going to have to delay some major purchases, things like that? If you think you're going to need to ask for a raise later on, you might want to start negotiating your salary before you start. Find out if the company can afford it, right? Because you want to know what their budget is. So if you know the company can afford it, that's another reason, or, you know, that's saying another sign that you should negotiate your salary. I mean, you should not negotiate is when you haven't done your homework. You haven't done your research. You don't know what you're worth. You haven't created your talking points. You haven't practiced with a friend or coach, or you've already accepted at the lower number. Then it's too late. Words and phrases to use during your salary negotiations conversation with the hiring manager. You know, say these things. I'm excited about the opportunity to work together. Value is a big, big thing. Use that word, value, your value, what you bring to the table. You can say similarly situated employees, as you're making a comparison between what the offer is, or what the offer you've been given, and what you know other employees are making based on your research, based on my research. I can't stress that enough. I would be more comfortable if, and then the final thing is, if you can do that, I'm on board. So basically this relates to negotiating the entire compensation package, not just the salary. So you see here, these examples, words and phrases to use, that you're not making demands, right? You're having a conversation. It's very important to maintain likability, right? Likability, because if the hiring manager likes you, they're much more willing to go to bat for you. So maintain that likability. Some do's and don'ts. All right, do your homework, use your network. Know your value and your minimum. If you're pressed to give a number after you've received the job offer, not before, but after, you can say, you can give a salary range or a specific dollar amount. Backing up a little bit, if you're talking to the recruiter and you know that they're doing a screening interview and they're asking you that very ominous question, what are your salary requirements? There's several different ways that you can answer that question. You know, I would always start off with saying something like, I would like to find out more about the job to see if it's a good fit for me before we discuss salary. And if they keep pressing you, you know, you can say, well, I would be satisfied with the market range. I'm looking for the market range, or, you know, the current labor market number, or however you want to say it. Be prepared, be prepared to counter offer, negotiate non-monetary compensation benefits. We will get into that later on. Don't be the first to bring up the salary question. You never want to make it seem like the only thing that you're interested in is money. You don't want to do that, okay? So you want to delay all talk of salary until after you receive the job offer, if at all possible. Don't reveal your salary expectations until after you receive the offer. Okay, I just said that. Don't assume your previous salary should be your current salary or your next salary. A lot of people make that mistake. You know, they're asked, oh, you know, what are your salary expectations? Well, this is what I made in my last job. That's completely irrelevant. You know, it's a different job. Maybe it's the same job, but it's a different company, a different time period. You know, labor market, salary information that changes. You know, look at what's going on right now. You know, look at the current economy right now. A lot of companies, they're fearing, you know, recession, probably starting to cut back on their expenses. So, you know, they just depending, you know, a lot of different circumstances, they might not be willing to pay new employees as much as they might have been willing to pay them, you know, not even 6 months ago. So what you made in like your last job is completely irrelevant. So you don't want to tell them that, and don't expect that your next salary should be the same as it was in your previous job. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask a lot of questions, because you want to make sure that this is a good fit for you and there are no surprises after you start the job. And don't talk yourself out of a good offer. So you have to really think about it. You know, they give you an offer and you're not sure if it feels like, you know, like if you can accept it, if it's acceptable to you. Don't feel like you have to respond right away. You know, I would say respond, but ask them if you can, you know, think it over for a day or so, a day or two. And if they really want you, they'll wait. All right. Now I did say, don't reveal your salary expectations until after you receive the offer. The only exception to that would be if you're working with a headhunter, right? Or a third party recruiter, and only if they agree to not to disclose it to the employer. So that would be the only exception. Okay. I like this. I got a kick out of this. So I had to put it on there. Okay, what to do when the employer won't budge. So they gave you an offer and you're trying to negotiate. Do you have any, you know, say, I do have any, is there any flexibility in this? And they say, nope, you know, this is our offer, take it or leave it, right? So you know that you're not going to have any room to negotiate. So you have to start thinking about, okay, what else can I negotiate? Well, you can negotiate with the benefits. So I will show you that. So here are all the things that you can negotiate. There's a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff here. Now, don't try to negotiate everything that's on this list. That's not reasonable at all. So you have to prioritize, you know, what is most important to you. And it may not be, you know, something that can be monetized, right? It could be something like a better title. It may not think that that might have very much value, but it does. It could have, you know, you could have more leverage when it comes time to negotiate, not negotiate, your performance evaluation. If you get a better title going in, you might have more leverage negotiating for a raise down the road. And you'd also have more leverage at your next company. So there's all the things that you can negotiate on. Just make sure that whatever you agree to or whatever the employer agrees to, after you've, you know, talked about it and you've done your negotiations and they've made you, you know, say, gave you a verbal agreement, right? Okay, this is the things that we are going to offer you, and whatever they say, don't agree to start the job until you get it in writing. Get that offer letter in writing, and make sure that that written documentation includes everything, not just the salary, but all those benefits that you negotiated, that the employer agreed to offer you. Make sure that the documentation also includes the job description and the list of responsibilities. And lastly, make sure it's signed by you and your employer, because that is very valuable, because they could say something to you, you know, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we agree to that. But if you don't get it in writing and you start the job and you find out, oh, okay, now I'm being told I'm not going to get that, and HR is saying, well, you know, hiring management is new and he didn't know, and you know, that's we don't offer that anymore, we used to offer that, we don't offer that now. So all those reasons why you should get it in writing and make sure that it's signed. Okay, so sometimes, you know, you realize that you're not going to be able to negotiate, you're not going to get the salary that you want, or maybe you just don't have a good feeling about it. So there are times when you really are going to need to walk away. So there's some of the red flags are if the employer is not willing to negotiate at all on anything, they're telling you that they don't value you. They're saying nothing says I don't care about you more than unwillingness to negotiate. If the salary is the only good thing about the new job, you should think carefully about whether it's right for you. Your gut says no, to listen to your gut. So you have this ongoing feeling of discomfort. You're like really not happy about it. Just, it might be time to decline. Just think about it. Okay, here's another good quote. It looks like word salad to me, but the takeaway is whoever proposes a number first loses. And why is that? Because if you don't know what the employer is budgeted for the job and you quote, an amount or a range, even a dollar amount, if they were prepared to pay you more because they budgeted higher, then you just left money on the table. And they're saying, yay, congratulations, we don't have to pay this person as much as we thought we were going to. Now we can save some money. If you come in too high, you've just disqualified yourself. They're going to move on to the next candidate. Not always, but frequently, let's put it that way. Okay, and finally, even if you, decline the offer, make sure that you express gratitude, because there's a lot of work that put into that, reading your resume, calling you up for the interview, checking your references. There's a lot, they put a lot of work into the interview, and even preparing the offer, they did a lot of work. So express gratitude and say thank you, even if you decline the offer. Send a separate thank you email to each person who interviewed you within 24 hours of the interaction, so they're still fresh. You're still fresh in their mind. That can make a difference. That can make a very big difference, because there might be another job at that company that you might be interested in and want to apply for. But if you haven't expressed gratitude and said thank you to them, they might not even consider you for that other job. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so summary: knowing how to negotiate salary offers is a valuable skill that can help ensure you're fairly compensated for the work you do. However, like any skill, it takes preparation and practice to do well. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?